Alright, so this video is about why do we normalize dysfunction within the black community. Now disclaimer, the motivation behind this video is coming from a situation that happened in a certain space between me and an individual. The space would be, the particular space I'm talking about would be a particular channel. And I don't want anybody that may be familiar with who I'm talking about, I'm not going to mention names, but I don't want anybody that possibly, the few people that have possibly come from that space and started rocking with me, support me. If you are familiar with who or what I'm about to reference, I don't want you or anybody else to think I'm talking about the current situation between these two individuals. I don't get involved in people's relationship like that. To be honest, it has no bearings on my life. I don't care. I care about their well-being as individuals, but as far as it goes with what they got going on, to be honest, I don't care. So this video is not about that. This video again is just about a situation that took place that highlights a mentality that we have in our community. So don't get it misconstrued. And also, as far as I'll just get into the story. So the channel holder is somebody that at one point in time I was constantly joining the lives as far as being in the chat, so on and so forth. So it's somebody that I support. I don't know him personally, never met him, so on and so forth, but you get familiar with people on social media. So bro just, I would say he's a product of his environment. Now, it's not to make an excuse for him, by no means, and I'll get into a little bit of that here in a second, but he's a product of his environment, and it's very similar to a lot of people within our community. So I say I support bro just like I support pretty much everybody in our community, because I want us to do better. Now, bro got a lot of problematic ways about him, the way he thinks, the way he moves, so on and so forth, and I've stated a lot of this to him, as far as some of it he actually seen, and we went back and forth. Some of it I would come up on the panel and talk to him just briefly about certain things. So we've had conversations, and also I'm quick to give my little 2 cents in the chat. So I give context to that to say, though I support bro, it's from a distance now, because just as I'm not a big fan of constant drama and never-ending cycles of the same old stuff or whatever. So I still want bro, I still want the best for bro, but I got to a point where I just tapped out from all that stuff. But him and his significant other, they do vlogs. They were doing vlogs, and their life, in my opinion, if I'm being honest, without going too far into it, is very chaotic. Their relationship dynamic is very chaotic, but it was that from an individual standpoint before they even got with each other. So you can only expect the same thing, even worse, as far as them being together, if those things are not addressed. Let me say that. And so with their vlogs, there's a lot of drama going on, them arguing, so on and so forth. And so, like I said, every now and then I tap into their vlogs, whatever they got going on. And this particular day, typical fashion, he ranting and raving about his experiences with women and why he operates the way that he does, why he thinks the way that he does in that particular day. And mind you, this situation that I'm referencing, it happened before stuff hit the fan. So definitely don't get it misconstrued as in I'm talking about anything as of recent per se. But he ranting and raving about the type of women he's experienced, the grimy stuff they've done, and what they'll do behind your back, and why he don't trust them, why he moved the way that he moves, so on and so forth. And mind you, he's now in a relationship, and at this particular point in time, married, from what's being presented. And so me, like I said, I look out for him as far as trying to give advice whenever I can. Not all the time, but occasionally I try to give him some advice. And so this particular day, with him doing that and me already seeing, the problematic stuff that they've shown that continues to trickle over day in and day out, that's being unaddressed, and more to that is coming. With me saying that, I'm telling him, like, say bro, this is in the chat, I'm not on the panel at this time. I'm telling him, say, your mentality and the way you operating, you are now in a relationship, so So yeah, of course, I didn't say this part, but I've said this to him before. But reality-wise, that type of stuff should have been addressed before even getting in a relationship. But that's another video. I've did videos about that concept. But I'm telling him, it's like, bro, your mentality on how you were operating, the mind frame that you did have, I understand at this point it's easier said than done. But your mentality is gonna play into your relationship not working out. Whether I agree y'all should have got together at the jump or not, it's neither here or there. But this is where y'all at now, and y'all got to make sure y'all move a particular type of way so y'all relationship can work. And so I'm letting them know, say, bro, you gotta, do what you gotta do to get rid of that problematic behavior, because it is going to play into the dysfunction of your relationship, and it is playing into the dysfunction of your relationship. So from saying that in the chat, like I said, he may not have seen it, but this is what I'm putting in the chat and hoping him or his significant other will see it. And a lot of times they pay attention to the chat and they catch on and stuff. Well, it's this particular individual, and even with her, I say her because one, it's a woman's name, it's a woman's picture, but no disrespect to her in any way. But where I'm getting at with these chats, these live chats, and just intermingling with people online, I'm really gonna back up from it to a certain extent, because I don't know if that's a real person. I don't know if that's a troll, a bot, or whatever the case may be. And I don't like, to some extent, I don't like being invested in a back and forth, because let's say if it's a heated exchange or something like that, I'm not about to get emotionally invested. Now, the reason why I say to some extent I don't like engaging with people, there is a particular part that I do look forward to engaging, even if it's a bot, if it's a troll, or whatever the case may be, because at the end of the day, I'm looking at it like, well, anybody that's real on here, the real people, anybody that sees our exchange, they get an opportunity to see how I think, so on and so forth, because I obviously have a channel that I don't promote on other people's channels, but some people have given me permission to promote on their channel, and then from being on people's channels so constantly, some people have got familiar with me to understand, okay, this is who he is, he does have a channel, so it gives them my exchange with people, whether they're real or trolls or whatever the case may be. It can give them insight on what I'm saying for them to then buy into, okay, dude, we making some good points, so on and so forth, let me check them out. So from that extent, I'm okay with engaging, but just all in all, it's something that I'm gonna pull back on, because I don't know if these people are real or whatever the case may be. But so I'm gonna just keep it surface and say the woman, she addresses what I said, and this is where it comes in as far as us normalizing dysfunction. And it's not just based on her, it's more so her mentality, and how a lot of people in our community have the same mentality or operate the same way. So essentially, she's telling me that I need to loosen up, I'm too uptight, because these people are just vlogging their life. It's not that serious, they're okay, you see that they're laughing, it's not all bad. What else was said? She said that she's seen vlogs way worse than this, where people's life is extremely messed up. It may be some other stuff that I'll remember here in a second, but that was the basis of our exchange on her side. And then my side, I'm telling her that I don't care about the too uptight title, because within our community we too lax anyway, and we're not in a position to be lax, especially with me being about black empowerment and forward progression and wanting the best for people. I don't mind being too uptight or whatever the case may be, because in my opinion we need more uptight people to balance out all the entertainment that's going on and nobody's serious. So that's one point. Second point would be her statement about vlogs, and it's people out there that have that have worse vlogs than what they do, and their life is more chaotic than the channel that I'm referencing. And my comment to that is, so you mean to tell me, essentially this is what I'm saying, I'm like, so you mean to tell me just because there's somebody out there that's doing worse, bruh and his significant other should continue on the path that they on without improving, because the basis of that is there's somebody out there that's a lot worse? That sounds stupid to me. That does not make sense, and so on and so forth. So that's the exchange we was having, going back and forth for a little while. Not disrespectful, because one, I don't disrespect people like that, especially women. Now men, we may have, I won't say heated exchange, I ain't about to have a heated exchange with anybody, but it's a different tone when it's a man as opposed to a woman. I ain't about to do no outlandish or wild stuff as it pertains to a woman. But there was a context of our back and forth, and she constantly pushing bruh, telling him it's okay, he good, so on and so forth. And this is the problem that we have within our community, as far as people enabling bad behavior, or people enabling people just altogether by telling them, I get it, if people are a product of their environment. Now this is where I have a lot more understanding than some people. Some people is just like, they totally dismiss a person's background, what they've experienced, what they've been through, because now they're adult. They say, well, you should know better, you should move better, and they hold them to that. I get that side. Don't get me wrong. I definitely get that side and agree to some extent. But also, and this is just my thinking just in general, but also with me being in the mental health field, I also understand how that's easier said than done. Our past experiences, whether that's trauma or whatever the case may be, it does have a hold on us in our adulthood, and it's probably a lot worse in our adulthood because now here it is, we've been engraved with a certain mentality that is going to be hard to break away from. So I say that to say, I personally have a balance of both, saying no, don't use something as an excuse or a crutch. Yes, you can identify it as this is playing a part in why you operate the way that you do, but don't continue to operate that way. Try to find a way to start doing better or break that cycle, being that you're able to identify this is how you've been doing because of X, Y, and Z. So from the standpoint that she comes from with trying to tell bro it's gonna be okay, so on and so forth, I get it, but there's another side to it to where you gotta be real with people and let people know if you ain't putting forth the necessary effort for things to get better, they are not going to get better, especially if you have a repeated cycle of the same thing and you keep missing the same lessons, despite the fact that certain things may be going good in your life. It's not to say that all things are going to be bad, but when bad hits, and if it can always tie back to similar experiences and similar behavior that you had, that should be highlighting a problem that you need to address. And you as the individual that's having those problems, you don't necessarily need those individuals around you. From a motivational standpoint, I say kind of take it with a grain of salt to an extent. Yeah, you need people there to support you, but if that's all you have around you and they ain't keeping it real with you and giving you the other side, they are just as problematic as somebody that's not addressing that you've had bad experiences, that you're not going to get it at the snap of a finger. So that's why I say it got to be a balance on both sides. So that story was to give context to what motivated me to do this video about the how we normalize dysfunction in our community. To give more specific examples how that looks in our community, we may normalize us being argumentative with each other, or we may normalize it is phrased as, well, this is how it was when I was a kid, so therefore X, Y, and Z. That's why I operate the way that I do. That's why I have the mentality that I have. I can't do nothing about that. It worked then, it's working for me now, despite the fact that your life is chaotic. And again, this is not pertaining to this individual about that channel, that individual on this channel. This is now bigger, talking to everybody. You wonder why your life is so chaotic and problematic and dysfunctional, but you're not putting necessary attention and effort into areas that you need to, because your dysfunction has become normalized. Now it's almost like, to some extent, it's a part of who you are. This is what the tradition has been with my family, so this is normal to me, and I get it, and my heart go out for people that have experienced any type of dysfunction within their family, to where now that's normal to them, to when they experience something different, that is not normal. That is not the way we're supposed to operate. My experience, my dysfunctional experience, that's how life is. So it warps a person's mentality, it warps a person's brain, to where a lot of people within our community makes excuses as to why we have the vitriol that we do for each other, why we will do certain things or be involved in all type of trouble, and we make excuses for this, and this could trickle down to kids for sure. We engrave this from a foundational standpoint that, hey, we make all these excuses when you kids, that it's okay, so on and so forth, without you even understanding the consequences that goes behind certain actions. And then when you get older into your adulthood, your mentality is engraved in, people make excuses for me, not to that extent as far as those words, but your mentality is engraved in that, oh, it's gonna be okay. Mom and dad have always made excuses for me, so that's why my reality is warped to where I feel like I can get away with anything, or I can operate a particular type of way, and that's causing a huge problem within our community. Our mentalities are our downfall because we normalize dysfunction. We now live in dysfunction. It's our everyday life, and we're okay with that. That's a problem, because we're gonna continue to spiral out of control, and as we can see, it only gets worse. It doesn't get better, because we're not addressing the issue and doing something different to change it. So I know this video was extremely long to a certain extent. I don't know how long time frame wise, but there's more that can go into the normalization of dysfunction within our community. Different examples I can give, kind of drawing blanks as far as giving specific examples, but hopefully y'all get the context of what I'm talking about. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Again, I'm gonna reiterate, especially if those individuals see this video, I would imagine from what I said, there's nothing that you can take personal, and if you do, don't take it personal, because it's much bigger than y'all. Y'all are not that individually y'all not important, but just understand it's much bigger than you. It's based on a wide range of people that either operate the same way that y'all do or have the same mentality. So again, it's much bigger than you. Don't take it personal. But again, appreciate everybody for watching. You can add your comments to it, so on and so forth. I appreciate y'all.